Miami Seminary, USA, June 15th, 2028. Dear Dad, as I prepare to be ordained to the priesthood next month, my spiritual director has advised me to write a special letter to the person I credit the most with helping me to follow the call to priesthood. Dad, that person is you. You will probably be surprised to hear this, but it all started in my junior year of high school back in 2013 when you were reading the church bulletin and you saw that the new Catholic club was starting at the public high school. You encouraged me to go, so I went. I have to tell you, Dad, I never really cared much about praying back then. Just the fact that I was going to a Catholic club awakened something inside of me. I started to notice friends from the Catholic club throughout the school day. A few of those friends invited me to youth group on Wednesday nights. All we did at St. Mary's Youth Group on Wednesdays is play some pool and eat delicious food. But at that youth group, I made a whole lot more Catholic friends, and I met adults who were involved in church. Eventually, as I got to know these adults, a few of them suggested that I might get something out of attending a Steubenville youth conference. I did not really want to go, but one day at dinner time, I mentioned it to you, and you encouraged me to go just to see what it was like. Only because you encouraged me, I agreed to go. Dad, going to that youth conference changed my whole life. For the first time, I saw huge amounts of teenagers who were singing Christian songs and who were not ashamed to say they loved Jesus. I was never the same again. The youth conference was just 3 days, but when I came back from it, I started to attend the teen faith sharing group in iCafe on Tuesdays. It was in the same place as the pool tournaments, but this was a whole different level of being involved in a church activity. There was more substance to that weekly teen faith sharing gathering than there was at the pool tournaments. Suddenly, we were talking about things like offering our whole day to God as soon as we woke up each morning. Dad, this made a huge difference. I remember one day I was in a bad mood. I came downstairs and you said something to me about how I needed to keep my room cleaner. I was so tempted to roll my eyes at you, but then I instantly remembered that just a few minutes before, I had offered all of my actions that day to God. I did not want to give God a gift like me rolling my eyes, so I refrained. I will never forget that moment. It was the first time I felt like God was helping me to find self-control. I even remember how you looked at me in a funny way when I told you that you were right, and that I would do a better job keeping my room clean. I think you could tell that something amazing was starting to happen inside of me. It was so many little things like this that started to change my life. In addition to the morning offering at the teen faith sharing group, we learned to examine our conscience each night before we went to sleep. We were given support for praying before meals, going to confession regularly, and attending Mass, even on days other than Sunday. Is it any wonder my life was totally transformed? My grades went up, my behavior improved, and yes, my room got cleaner. I remember the most amazing thing happening at Ukiah, the young church Eucharistic adoration for teens. I was still experiencing a heightened sense of faith from the Steubenville Youth Conference, and I wanted to adore Jesus in the Eucharist just like we had done at Steubenville. I went to Ukiah and started to pray. I felt a deep peace enter my heart, and someone there offered a prayer for vocations to the priesthood. Dad, I was staring at the Eucharist, and I heard that petition for vocations among teens, and I remember asking myself seriously for the first time, am I called to be a priest? Thanks, Dad. Thanks for everything. I cannot see myself having followed the call to this vocation without you encouraging me to be involved in youth ministry. You gave me very gentle nudges here and there was so much waiting for me in youth ministry. It was at my school, it was at iCafe, and Wednesday youth socials, and when I was ready, youth ministry was ready with ways to grow in the faith, like the teen faith sharing group on Tuesdays, Ukiah Eucharistic adoration, youth conferences, retreats, and other opportunities. All of the adults, from the volunteers to the priests who are involved in youth ministry, made such a big impression on me. As a priest, now I will do whatever I can to give the youth I serve these kinds of life-changing opportunities. You are an amazing dad. See you at the ordination, and tell Mom I love her. Your son, Bobby.